G'day guys, how's it going? Sorry for the delay. I was trying to get my camera working. It's a bit wonky. I'm so sorry for that. I've been fiddling around with the gimbal and I probably need to really do it. I just had to get this thing up and going very quickly because I've just had the new aircon installed and I had to scramble to actually get this stream going for you anyway. And I had some stuff planned to try and get some numbers for you about the new Macs. I know this is quite a hot topic and I think I might just jump on the bandwagon now. I was going to think about doing it last night, but I thought, no, because I did do the position 75, 60. I thought I'll just let that video at least play out for a little bit more longer, and then I'll do the stream anyway. So I do know haven't done the full watch of the whole Apple event. I only just did a little small clip of it. More just about the new Macs, the M1s, and the new MacBooks, and that's all I've done. So I have not watched anyone else's the stream or comments about this. So these are what I was thinking as I was watching the event. And I did try and take some screenshots as I was watching the events and things like that. So it was an interesting event, and it was a happy one. It was something we were expected because there was so much rumors about the 14-inch rather than going to sticking with the 13. So that was glad to see that they did that and having the new 16-inch. Now, besides those talk about the 14 and 16-inch, we'll come back to that a little bit later. Of course, at the moment, the hot topic is the new M1 chip with the M1 Pro and the M1 Max. Before, we were just thinking it was going to be the M1X. We just knew that they had to work on something about the integrated graphics because that was what was lacking with a lot of the professional or the high-end sort of work, especially for the video editing. I know a lot of people do, and also the sound as well too. So it was a very interesting event to watch. It was a very small clip on where they were talking about the M1s. It was probably, I think, maybe at the most they covered maybe about 5 to 6 minutes worth, and then the rest was about the new Max anyway. So let's talk about the new M1 chip first. When I was watching the event, I saw interesting to see what they were going to do with the M1 chip. First off, I was very surprised they actually brought out 2 chips for the thing. I'm actually very happy about it. So I was previously a Mac fanboy, probably for a decade or so. Then I just jumped over to Windows and started working on that because I was finding the Macs wasn't really moving much. But now with the new M1s, it seems they're trying to do something different, which is great to see for the industry because we want to see things different and we have to see things get more competition as well. So I do hope the very best for it. But at the moment, we are in teething problems with any first generation. So the M1 Max has been quite an issue for especially for myself and a lot of my people who I support who actually do run very specialized softwares. It has been quite a bit of a nightmarish. But for those people who just use the standard probably office productivity work as well as the softwares that are supported by the M1 then natively without having to go through Rosetta, then that's fantastic as well too. But if you're trying to run bootcamp, there is no bootcamp, and any sort of Windows sort of thing, that's a no-go there as well too. I know that VM Fusions is just about to move over to that, and also Parallel has got VMware, but still not doing the fantastic sort of performance anyway. So I'm hoping the audio is coming through here. So if you do, g'day Potato Gordon, how are you doing? I see you jumped in very quick. So besides the, actually, no, we'll go back to the graphics anyway. So let me kind of bring up, I am running a test on something because, like I said, I'm scrambling for some of the stuff I'm trying to find. So I am running off my mobile phone and I am running about 2 computers here to try and get this thing working very quickly. So first off, let me see if I can share this screen here. Share this. Oh, so a second. Let me bring this thing up because this is kind of something I want to bring up to show you guys. Here we go. Now, I was having a look at, let me start with this one first. CPU power, we're not really care about CPU power because the CPU power, actually, I'll bring it up anyway. Let me bring it up anyway. So let me see if I can share the screen. Share screen, and I want a particular window, which could be this one here. No, that's not the one we're after. We're after the other one. So let me remove that one there. And let's try that one more time. They're so small. G'day, Night Rock. How are you doing? Uh, I hope you're doing well. Where are you from? As same as where you, Potato. Where are you from? Give me a second. Oh, share screen. There we go. I want. It's so small on this monitor. I cannot barely see what I'm doing. GPU. Nope, that's not what we're after. Let me remove that again. Ah, okay, here we go. Windows should be this one here. That's the one we're after. Okay, cool. So first off, let's start with the CPU performance, which is nothing something I'm surprised by. I'd expect to be a little bit faster, maybe about 2 or 3 times faster with the M1, which is kind of good to see. So let's see if this is my mouse. Yeah, awesome. So when we had a look at this, of course, the previous M1 did a very good job, and I did do it against the new AMD. I'm not really going against the Intel at the moment because Intel are just losing a little bit, but most of their performance, as you can see from a lot of their graphs, are Intel based. So down here is actual. Let me have a look. So down here, they actually tell you what is the computer they are actually comparing against, which is fantastic to see. So this particular computer, which is the MSI Prestige 14 Evo, I have tested myself in my hand. So that I do know is the new Intel. Now this is only Intel 11. I think it was i7 11G7. So it's not one of those H processor. It's only the mobile chip processor, which it should be good. So it's not like a massive performance, but it is a power saving one. So that's would be this one here, the 4-core one that they're probably talking about. And I would probably believe that would be this ratio that they're talking about, the performance wise, because this graph here is going by the amount of power it sucks. They do suck quite a bit of power, the Intel ones, and M1s do not suck that much power, which is great because that's like what you should expect from an ARM processor. Now, as for the performance range, this is very interesting here because when they say this is probably about, well, let's just say this is about 70% or 75% performance, and does about 100%. Now, I would believe that. That would be about right because from all my testing numbers. Now, if I bring up another one of these things here, well, that's not what I'm after. Let me have a look if I can bring this up. I just need to share this part of it going through. Okay, we've got lots of, let me remove this and let's bring up this sort of share screen again. File, window, CPU. Here we go. Let's go for here. Okay, let's have a share this. Sorry. Are you annoyed by the shitty notch at the new MacBooks? Ooh, okay. So I'll get into the aesthetics later on, but not really in a sort of sense. I know some people may be annoyed by it. For myself, who used to be quite a heavy Mac user, not really because of how the Macs run. Unless you're really running things in full screens in terms of like video, that's really all I can know that really runs in like full screens because everything else you always see is that the menu bar at the top, and a lot of the times the menu bar never really goes past that center area anyway. So for me, who's a previous Mac user, I don't find that annoying. It may look annoying, but functionally wise, it doesn't really cover anything much. Unless you're watching a video file, then yeah, that's probably the only thing you really cover. So for me, when I saw that, that could look bad, but functionally wise, no. I think it's going to be quite happy there. It could have been made smaller. I don't know why they've added the extra bits and pieces into there because I think you can't do Face ID or somewhere, which is a bit interesting. I was expecting that coming from the mobile phones. They'll probably integrate it, but nope. But yeah, so they didn't have any of that. And on the right-hand side is your usual, all the system taskbars and stuff. So that doesn't take very much anyway. So for me, I don't think the notch is going to be much of an issue who's been using Mac. Now, on the Windows-based side, that's a different story because most of the times your taskbar is at the bottom. So for me, that would be annoying for a Windows computer, but for Mac, not really, because of that well, it's not really, it's a consistent menu bar that's always there, no matter what application you're running, unless you're running something in complete, utter full screen, which is usually a video file, watching videos above. So that's what I'm thinking about it for that, Nightrock. Greetings, AMI, yep. So, all right, now let me get back to this. So, like I said, they were quoting, let me bring it in, the Evo one here. So, sorry, I'm staying corrected. i1185G7. So that one there, I have tested out. Now, I'm going to bring up the scores around here. That was more about what I had a look at. So let's go Geekbench, because that's what I could able to test in my previous video for this. So let's have a look. Did I actually have the scores in this? No, I did not. I had it in I haven't been entered in. That's how lazy I've been. Yeah, I've been pretty lazy, haven't I? Yeah, I really need to enter it in. I haven't been entering it. I've been so busy testing computers, and I haven't entered in the scores here. So, but I have got pass mark, if I remember correctly. So let me bring up pass mark, which will give me a bit of idea on how fast, and it also gives you a better idea of the graphics as well too. So processor wise, about 13 something, which is fantastic there. It's not great in terms of like performance. So it is about 13. Now the AMD, the Ryzen 5000 chip, that is probably nearly double that. Or, I wouldn't say, yeah, it's about nearly double, but it's not really double, but it's about double that in terms of processor wise. Now, as for the GPU, which is the integrated graphics, now again, the AMD is kind of double that anyway for the 3D graphics, and this is what's going to be interesting in. So let me bring this back out. Let me just take that away. And let's bring out this other one here. Share screen, and let's go to the GPUs. Let me have a see if I can find the GPU. Hopefully this is the GPU. No, that's CPU. That's not what I want. Sorry, it's so small on the share screen that I can barely see because I've got a few screens here, and it's just sorry, the windows are just small. What's this one? Okay, graphical power. That's good enough. We'll run off this one anyway. So we've got the M1s, which is pretty much about, I'd say, very similar, I would say, as the i7 in a way. So the AMD will probably be twice as much that. So I'm taking a guess. For me, I think that the AMD and the M1 for the Intel integrated graphics wise, for the i1 Pro, that is. So this one says it's 7 times faster. Well, which is going to be interesting because relatively performance. So this says 7 times faster, yet this is like 200 here. I do know that they're running off the power watts. Now AMD do run around about 25 watts, so it's about smacking in about here. So if that is about right, the AMD should sit around about here at around about the 150 compared to the M1 Pro. But knowing how it is about close to twice as fast as Intel, I would say it would probably be closer to the up to here. Very, sorry, relatively kind of close to the M1 Pro for the performance range. Now, I don't mind if I'm wrong. This is just speculating for that. Now, the i1 Pro Max, and I'll see if I can bring this thing in here. Just give me a second. Let's bring this. Oh, yep, that's right. Let's bring in the other screen here, which they were talking about. So again, I know. Sorry, this is CPU. They don't have a GPU. I didn't get to the GPU section, but they say it's around about twice as fast in a way because they've got twice as many cores. But so I'm taking a guess it will be closer to. Oh, let me see if I can bring this thing. Did I bring it back up again? I've lost it again. Sorry, guys. It is window here. I'm just going to bring this in share. Okay, GPU, high-end graphics. Okay, this is going to be something very interesting. I'll get to this one a little bit later on. So for me, I think the M1 Max being supposedly 4 times as fast as the graphical power compared to the M1, whereas the M1 Pro is going to be twice as powerful. So my thoughts are it's going to be probably about twice as powerful as the AMD Ryzen 5000 chips for the integrated graphics, which is going to be sweet, I have to say. And now I'm going to get to the fun part of this, which is how does that integrated graphics compare to the discrete graphics, which they were trying to compare to some of the high-end graphics cards here. So here we've got here the comparing, which is, of course, yeah, M1 doesn't use much power, but we are going to starting to talk about some high-end graphics here. So this is where I'm a little bit quirky about this graph that they've done here. So they've actually, I'm not sure if you guys can read this down here, but I'm going to see if I can read this down here. So this one here has a high-end PC laptop performance, which is what they were trying to talk about for this graph here that they're doing. And it's referring to an MSI GE76 Radeon 11UH model there. So looking up that processor there, let me kind of bring this out. Let me add back to the screen. So this sharing thing is quite a bit of a noise. Actually, let me do is I can't share the window because I've got such a big windows and so many windows around. So I'm just going to share this one here. Here we go. Let's share this one here. So, and I need to find out what's happening because I can't tell which is which. Not that one there. I've got so many displays. I need to manage myself better. So this is what they were comparing against, which is the GE76 Radeon 11UH processor. So this particular model, it has an RTX 3080 card, which is quite beefy. After that, I've never actually tested a laptop that had a 3080 card in yet. I've tested it with the Quadro cards, but not the 3080 card. So this next one here, which is the 11UG processor. Now, this one has a 3070 card in there, RTX 3070 card. Now, what's really interesting today is I managed to get, Asus have actually sent me a ZenBook Dual to have a play with and have a test with, which I will probably talk to you a bit later. But this has a 3070 card in it. So I'm going to just show you what a 3070 card can pull in terms of watts wise. So let me add this one to stream. So let's see if I can do this. Add to stream. Here we go. So this is the ZenBook. Sorry, this is the. Oh, what's happening? There you go. So this here is the ZenBook. Now I've just ran through the class mark test really quickly, but let's bring this thing up here. Hopefully you can see this or not, but at the moment, this one here has the RTX 3070 card in it, and I'm going to bring in the sensor in, and I'm going to actually start this and put this GPU on load, and we're going to have a look at how much power draw this graphics power can actually pull. So as it spins up the graphics, let me just sort of show this here. So I'm just going to give it a few more seconds here, and you'll see what we're really interested in is this GPU chip power draw. This will actually give you properly how much power this would pull in mobile, RTX 3070 card. Now, a 3080 card would be a little bit more, but not that much more compared to a 3070 card. So I have seen this go up to around about the 41 watts range. And you'll see that slowly building that up. So at the moment, it's about 39 watts here that's pulling. But like I said, as it starts to settle, it's around about 41 watts. So I'm going to keep the stream up here. Now, let's bring up this sort of, I need to stop the sharing here. I need to stop the sharing. And then let's bring up this GPU one again. This one here is what we're after. Okay, so it is referring to this is what we're talking about, the 3080 card. So the 3070 card pulls about 40 watts, which is around about down here. So I'm thinking that the 3080 card, maybe it'll take another 20 to 30 watts more. I'm hoping I'm not wrong about that, around about here. So that's kind of where I'm thinking it should sit, really, rather than sit all the way over down here where it's thinking around at the 160 watts. Now, if I can sort of bring you to this ZenBook, is got a beefy sort of, it's got quite a bit of thermal, so it's not a small thing. I know they might be talking about a game computer. This is not a, it's not that bad. So, and this has an i9 in there, so it's going to pull from massive amount. So I think they've got a little bit off here on some of their graph they're talking about. So this is GPU performance versus power. So I think they really are pulling some much higher numbers than I was expecting to pull, considering that I'm running this thing out. Okay, so here we go. Sorry, I have, yeah, this thing's now settled down to about, I'll just put this thing back. So this thing's now settled around about, yeah, about the 41, sort of 41 watts range, just so you can actually see what that is. Now, this is on mains power, so you can see, let me have a look. Right, yeah. I've got this in performance mode. So this is on mains power, and I have this currently running with, let's bring this thing in. I have this on performance mode as well too. So this is just screaming as high as it can at its best. I'm not really giving it save power, so it's in performance mode. And this is as fast as this thing can pull. So it's only pulling about 41 watts from what I can see. Now, of course, when you have the CPU in there, it's going to pull a little bit more from that, so it starts adding up. But the GPU alone only pulls about 41 watts. This is a 3070 card in there, so that's just my thoughts on it. So let's see how that runs. Now, again, we haven't got any of those M1 Max and M1 Pros to have a play with yet, but I think these graphs are a little bit off for my thoughts about it. But yeah, I don't know what you're thinking. So the next part is, well, what have I brought up here? Okay, the next part is this sort of thing here that they're talking about. Let me kind of remove all this out here. I'm going to stop. Oh, actually, while we're at it, I might as well bring this thing back in so you can see. I only ran this very quickly. So graphics wise, this is about 1185. You know, that's sort of scores for the graphics work for that one there. Now, I'm going to bring back in my good old spreadsheet, and I'm going to have compare. So remember this number, 11,000, about 11,500 for the graphics scores. So let's bring in this sort of thing, share screen. Not that one there, this one here. Okay, so graphics scores. All right, so we can see the Asus integrated graphics is doing about 7,500. So have I got anything I can compare this with? Not yet. I haven't entered in this one. This is a new spreadsheet I'm actually bringing out again in a way. So 11,000, and I think that's pretty decent for 3D graphics wise. I'll remove all this away. Right. So 3D graphics wise, I think that's pretty decent. Now, I like to see how the actual performance of the M1 Pro and Pro Max, so M1 Pro and M1 Max, to see the real performance of it and see how they scores in some of the benchmarks or even seeing things. Now, while we're at it, when they were talking about, and this is one thing I'm a little bit worried about, but this is also one of the things I do hope to have support with, and that is the professional work for either the CAD work. For deep learning, I think you can pretty much forget about the M1 still. There still is NVIDIA, dominated well for machine learning and deep learning. So don't even consider the Max at all. I'm hoping good for the CAD work. I do know for the video work, so video editing, it should be pretty decent. Even the M1 is not bad. But the M1 Pro and M1 Pro Max, I think will do very well. But what was very interesting was to see when they actually had the presentation, they had a bit of interviews. Was a bit of, no, I don't know about interview, a bit of a spat really from some of the companies like DaVinci, Resolve. There was Adobe. I think there was what was there? Cinema 4D as well. There was also another person there from another professional company. They were just saying how happy they were about the the new processor, about the graphical power, but they didn't show any numbers. So it's a bit iffy on that until we see one. But it is about the support of that software. So at least they come up, which means there might be some proper support for the M1 Pro and M1 Pro Max in those industries. So I do hope that would be fantastic for that. But for definitely statistical work, more CPU based, so that's still fine. And also for if you're doing, I think ArcGIS is more of a bit of both, so that would be fine as well. What else would I think? 3D work, I think I don't know. I'm a little bit iffy on this one here. I might think it still might be better with Windows. I don't think it might be any of the NVIDIA stuff still. So that's kind of my thoughts on the graphical power. But it's good to see they've at least done something. And I just really can't wait to actually have a look, get the M1 Pro or M1 Pro Max. M1 Pro Max, M1 Max in my hands to have a little test of the actual graphical speed. So, it's great. It's a good thing. Now, as for what they were bringing out was also the ports. I was having a good laugh when I saw the ports because they actually brought the ports back and going, finally, they got some ports back. What was one of the was so there's this is the Mac Air. So this is one. So that's got a headphone jack. They kept that. That's nothing different. They kept the free Thunderbolt ports. That's nothing new. And all they did really was bring back the SD card reader. They took that away, so I don't know why they say that's great. So it's good to see that that's come back. I like that they've brought that back. What was really interesting was a MagSafe. Now that MagSafe is great. What I would have liked to see what they would have done, but I know this is probably a limitation of the hardware, is to create a MagSafe version of the Thunderbolt for that one there. But knowing that it pulls, I think it is, if I remember correctly, it was about 96 watts and 140 watts. So 96 watts for the, I think it is going to be the M1 Pro, and then the probably M1 Max, more than likely. It could be maybe the 14-inch pulls 96 watts, and then the 16-inch pulls 140 watts, because I remember those numbers anyway. So, but I don't know if it's the M1 Max or the 14-inch may require the 140 watt power adapter meter. But that's probably the reason why they probably couldn't pull higher than probably I would say. I don't think Thunderbolt USB Type-C can do more than 130 anyway, because I think the Dell XPSs in the precision range for the USB Type-C port, they max out at 130 watts. They can't do anything more than that. So if they actually went down a little bit lower, that would be great to see. So that's my thoughts. Anyway, I'm going to take some questions here. Another thing that brought back was, and this is a funny thing, was about that touch bar. They finally got rid of, and excuse my French as well too, is they got rid of that stupid, silly, useless touch bar and brought back our physical keys game. Thank God for that. That's something that I did not find anyone that I've met that actually use that touch bar or love that touch bar. So it's great to see they've brought back the physical buttons. That's good to see. So finally, they kind of bring the old Macs back, which is good. And of course, they've got that new display. Now, I'm not a professional in terms of the HDR stuff. It's good to see that. So I'm going to let a lot of other reviewers talk about that. For me, I think I'm excited by it. But what really grabbed my attention was that 100 and I know it's got 100 hertz display. I'm not that quirky about it. I know some people are fantastic. For me, I'm so used to 60 hertz that it's not going to make a big difference to me. But I think for the people who play games, yeah, it'll probably make a difference. But for a lot of professional work, 120 hertz is not going to be making a massive difference. But what is going to be great is that 1600 nits brightness. That is fantastic. That's huge. So all that power they save from the processor, they put into display. I'm good for that. So I think that display is going to be leading quite a lot of other laptops all around. So I think that's going to be great for the M1 chip Max anyway. So yeah, I think that's fantastic. So I'm going to take some questions here because I've got a few questions here anyway. So personally, will you consider switching to your new MacBook Pro 16 Max? Do you have any particular use case for it? Okay, so for me, would I switch over to it? I'm pretty heavily invested in a lot of Windows apps as well too. So for me, primarily, I use Premiere Pro, and it is very heavily um, liking the NVIDIA stuff, even though I've got some AMD cards, it still likes NVIDIA stuff. Now, I did see the Dolby in the Apple event, but they were just for a split second, but they didn't really comment much, so I don't know what the performance is. Now, the performance in the M1 on the Premiere Pro is pretty meh. I wouldn't say great, but with this M1 Max, because I'll be only looking at the M1 Max anyway. I won't be able to look at the M1 Pro. But M1 Max, I don't know. It may be good. Will it beat like something that has a 3070 or 3080 card? I don't know until we finally get into it. I'm hoping the best for it. If it does, I do like it. I like Max, and I do like the power from it. It does run a lot cooler now. Hopefully the cooling system is actually attached to the processor, not like some of the Mac Airs um, are being fake and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that I can see it's got some quite a bit of thermals there. So and I do love the speakers on the Mac. So that I can't doubt. It's got good webcams, good displays. Keyboard's now been I can kind of live with. I'm not still happy with the keyboard, but it's better than what the butterfly keys are. So that's all right. The trackpad, fantastic. So I can't fault that. So overall, maybe I might. Maybe I might. If it has a really decent Premiere Pro for me, because that's what my main use is Premiere Pro. That's the heaviest thing. Else I'll just go back to my desktop computer, which is running a 3090 card now. So will it be the 3090? But if I'm on the go, maybe. Yeah, I might actually consider it. Going back to the MacBook, because I use cloud-based between two. So yeah, I would probably consider. For anyone else, I don't know. It really depends. It does have good battery life. So it's something I could recommend, knowing what it is. Now, I haven't looked at the price yet. I know it's going to be hefty, but so is a lot of these laptops like this ZenBook. This ZenBook that has a 3070 card in, that's about $4.5 grand for here in Australia. So that's going to be about the same sort of price as probably a 16-inch MacBook M1 Max, probably about so same sort of price. And if it does better, yeah, I think I would switch. So no questions asked. It'll be a price and how fast it can go. So it's definitely. Okay, hope that answers your question there. Chris, Tech, the amount of new stuff they added, honestly, 100%. Yeah, I think so. They've done a really good, decent job on this new 14 and 16-inch Mac. So this line of generation of Macs has drawn me looking at going back to Apple. That's for sure. But I am also liking because I've seen a lot of computers from the Windows side. I think they're getting quite innovative. Like even this ZenBook over here has this dual screen. This is quite fantastic. I haven't worked out how to use this. Functionally wise, this dual screen on this. Let's see if I can bring this up. This dual screen. Oh, sorry, it's connected to mains power at the moment. So let me just pull that off. What I'm talking about is this dual screen. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this dual screen. I know you can sort of do some things with it. That's kind of sweet. It's also got this like trackpad. Now, this trackpad I was thinking was really small, but hey, I was actually working quite happy with it. And it's got this, if you press it, just like what was the other one? The Z book or something I did that had that sort of style. That was pretty sweet, having the calculator built into it. So this is a decent computer overall, and it's got very good build quality there. So, but things like that has got some nice innovative sort of ideas on a Windows computer. But I do like the Mac OS and the integration between a lot of the devices. Unfortunately, I have moved myself away from Mac, so I no longer have an iPhone anymore. I don't have an iPad anymore. So I'm kind of out of the ecosystem. So for me, it'll be just the Mac. That's it. But if you're running an iPhone or an iPad, that would be fantastic to actually just straight away go to the new MacBook. If you were running the MacBook before, like the M1, and if you're looking at upgrading to the MacBook M1 Max or M1 Pro, and if you do use those professional work sort of thing, easily, I would probably say sell that M1 Mac and go for the new 14 or 16 inch. No questions asked. I think that is something that we're waiting for. All those upgrades, better display. That's you've got more ports. I don't know, more charging, definitely more performance. I can definitely tell you that. I don't have to see the real numbers. I can I'm pretty sure they'll have better numbers because they try double everything each year. Um, and you've got a better keyboard now that don't have that silly, useless. For me, it's useless. I know some people might use it, but I think it's a useless touchpad anyway. So I think it's going to be a great MacBooks for this year for it. So yeah, so definitely it justifies the price for sure for it. G'day, Effie. How's it going? If you need a real high quality service to increase your viewers, check out. Okay, sorry. I'm that's all right, mate. I'll slowly get there. One day I'll get higher there. G'day, Summit Sorrow. How are you doing? Intel need to up the game. Yeah, Intel needs to really up the game. I'm waiting for the Elder Lake, see how they go. Right. They are using efficiency cores, which I do know the M1s are doing the same thing. They're doing two efficiency cores. I think it is a two of an eight power performance cores, which is very similar to what Intel's are trying to do, but they're using x86 architecture. So yeah, buying any of it now means future proof for many years to come. I think this new M1 Max and M1 Pro will do pretty good for the next couple of years. Whereas the M1, yeah, that's why I was telling a lot of people to hold off unless they have to go to it. But I think this one might be something that even I would switch to. That's for sure. 41 yeah, sorry, yeah, 41,000 on mains power there. Oh, yeah, yeah, I thought it was probably combined with the processor, you're probably looking around about the 100 watts sort of range. TensorFlow machine should work on M1 Max. Works really well. Okay, interesting. I haven't really played with the DL stuff. So it is how does it run? How fast does it run, Brian? TensorFlow, does it run very well? Now, I am interested to see this M1 Max because it's got 64 gigs for the shared memory. Now, of course, no more the better for ML and DLs. So I think it's going to be interesting to see. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are later on. If you do get one of these in, definitely shoot me in this comments later on, or when I do finally get one in, I'll have a little play with it. But I haven't worked out how to use TensorFlow yet. I still got one day get there. One day I'll get there. One day I'll get there. I've got so much to do at the moment. So overall, I think this is going to be a great Mac this year and I think previously because this will be generation 2 anyway. So as you say, you try to skip the first generation, wait for the second generation, and I think this generation is worth holding forward for sure. So that's my thoughts of the new Apple event. I know they brought out other devices and stuff. But I think they might have some new headphones. I think a HomePod as well too. Some sort of service as well. I kind of looked at it. I pretty much was only interested in new Macs. That's pretty much about it. I'll probably go after this. I might actually go watch the rest of the event. I was only watching the first part, and that's pretty much it. So and a lot of these things came to mind. I was like, have a look at this, and looking at the performance of it to see how it runs. So yeah, if definitely love to hear what your thoughts are about this new M1 Pro and M1 Max. It's a bit of a spitter for it, but so and what is also interesting that M1 Pro and M1 Max is going to be in both the 14-inch and the 16-inch. So that's kind of nice to see. So they're not trying to restrict people to go straight to the 16-inch for the Max. So I like that idea when they can actually give us a bit of option there. Now I haven't had a look at this configuration. I think it's the end of this month or so that may be released. I don't think it's going to be released in Australia that early. I think it is, but I don't think we're going to get any stock in it. Especially for over here when I get all of the enterprise stuff, we don't get anything much that quick compared to the consumer walking down to Apple Store. You might be able to get it, but I was just waiting to then sort of test it. I'm sure that this Apple gets covered by a lot of other reviewers. So I'll just have a play with it when it comes to me, probably in about a month or two time. I'll have a play with it and see how it goes. I'll definitely love to hear your thoughts on it as you put comments on that. So yeah, let's see. I'm waiting for the. Oh yeah, sorry. I'll better put this up for you guys to have a look. Brian, I'm waiting for the reviews are in before I order. I'm concerned about the thermal envelope on the 14-inch. Sorry, that's something my emails. Now, this is one of the things I was kind of concerned about, but I'm not fully concerned about. Now, just see if I can bring this up. Let me try to see if, oh, here it is. Here it is. Let me try to bring up. So I am just gonna see if I can share the screen with you guys. Where I've lost my StreamYard. Where's it gone? Oh, there it is. Let me share this screen. Stop sharing. Share this screen. Oh, I've lost it. Oh, okay. Sorry, I had it there before. What's gone? Oh, okay, stop. Give me a second. Okay, there we go. Stop. Okay, good. So what's very going to be interesting is, and I was concerned a little when I was hearing all these numbers from the GPU for it, is that at least they've actually put two active fans here, and it's sucking in air from both sides rather than pushing the air out from the other side. So it's actually sucking in air and pushing out to the back. Now this is the in this is an inlet from the center back. And whoa, sorry, my fault. Go back. Okay, stop. Okay, so air coming in from the sides, both sides, and air coming in from the back end. And then, of course, it just heats it up and then spits it back out there. Now, knowing how Macs normally run, they will have this display covering all of these vents. So that's going to be interesting to see how that sort of goes. But at least they've got two active fans going through. So it gives me a bit of hope. And knowing how the Radeon, so the AMD chips, because they're around about the five, well, is it five? I think they're about 7 nanometers. It's getting to five anyway. They run pretty good, even with the GPU running pretty hard. So, and this is supposedly according to their graphs, a lot better on the graphs. So it's yeah, I think we might be okay with their thermals. Generally, their thermals are pretty good. I definitely know what I'm more worried about is the actual fan speed of these fans here, because normally with Macs they try to keep it as low, quiet as possible, than actually ramping up that fan up. But I do know from my previous experience with my Macs Pro, so the old Macs, is you can just grab iStack and then just ramp up the speed of the fans manually through software. Now, I hope you can still do that in your M1 Pro and M1 Max for that, so you can ramp up the speeds of the fans just to don't care. But yeah, I think it should be okay. So I'm not too worried, but we'll see. That's my thoughts of it on it. So yeah, uh, but not the power brick for 14 inch, much less than yeah. So I think, like I said, it was 96 watts and 140 watts was what I remember from the shows. But I don't know how large they really haven't shown. 96 is probably the same usual 96, but that 140, I I don't expect it to be that much bigger anyway. So they usually try to keep it pretty compact. What would be nice to see if they actually bring back the little tab that clicks out from the bricks, so you can actually roll the cables around it. I love that invention. I don't know why they took it away. So at least I brought back the MagSafe anyway. So that's good to see for that one there. But yeah, it's kind of cool. So anyway, that's what my thoughts are of this new M1 Pro and M1 Max, and also the new Max. I think it's going to be great. I'm excited by it. It's been a while since I've been excited by Apple products. Now I'm going to be really excited to see what they're going to do with the is it Mac Pro? Yeah, Mac Pro. What they're going to really put it? Will they make like 2 or 3 of these or 4 of these M1 Max chips and just chuck it in there and see how that goes and let it computate? That'd be fantastic, anyway. So I think it's been great. G'day, Lawrence. How's it going? It's been a while. So I haven't seen you for a while. Anyway, some scientific math libraries are still optimized only for Intel, so please check the software you use. But yeah, like I said, it still is a few things that are very Intel or NVIDIA based compared to what it is. So it is some things I'm worried. Now, I think SolidWorks, I love to hear what people talk about the CAD work for the M1 chips, see how that runs as well too. And Brian, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are for the deep learning and machine learning for the M1 Max and Pros. If you're saying the M1's doing pretty well by itself, but I don't know how if you've compared it with maybe a RTX 3070 or 3080 card, or if you've even done the quadro cards. But yeah, definitely something I am really interested to see how they run. Now, Apple forked TensorFlow to optimize for M1. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Uh, I didn't know that. That's something I didn't know. Because I think a lot of the people who did deep learning in one just went straight to NVIDIA cards for it. They've been sourcing out 3080s. Now, I've also, while I'm at it, talking about it, now I do know because I did bring out the Dell Precision 7760. Now, I've heard word that they may be putting or it could be already there, is RTX 3080 card in an option. It's a secret option. I've asked Dell to find out if it really is a secret option, but you may have to call them up to find out if you can put a 3080 in the Dell Precision 7760. I don't think it'll be able to put in the 7560, but we'll find out. I'll put feelers out there. We'll find out what we'll get. But yeah, definitely. But yeah, so anyway, that's really all I've got. Besides, I've got this new ZenBook. I have also been playing with this Latitude. Oh, where's that? Where is? That's all on that side. The Latitude 9420. Now that is a premium product. But what I found was, and then this is the funny thing, and you probably saw that in my last week's stream when I was doing the unboxing for it, was the shutter, the camera for the shutter is an automated shutter. And I have got it working because once you get the camera pulled out, you then have to physically press the button on the keyboard to actually release the shutter, so it actually opens up the webcam. Now, there is no physical shutter for you to, or lever to change the shutter. So I did ask this out to Dell, just ask them, what happens if you get, a software code that actually changes to open that shutter anyway, because you can't control it anymore. It's controlled by the AI system. And if that AI system overrides it, then what's the point of that shutter? I don't know, but they'll talk to me. They're going to find out up above. So we'll find out what's the deal there. It's a bit of an interesting one there. So yeah, anyway, thanks Brian for joining me. Anyway, and I hope you guys enjoyed this sort of stream and just have a little bit of a chat. You might have to reverse back. I did do a bit of a brain fart to talk to you guys about what I thought about the graphical power of the M1s anyway, our new M1s. Anyway, I hope you guys definitely have a good night or a good day. Anyway, so I'll definitely catch you guys later because I'm going to start editing the next video out for you guys. I think it is going to be the Latitude 7320 detachable because I've got that film. I just need to do that up. Anyway, I hope you have a fantastic night and I'll catch you guys in the next video. See you guys.